No DQ Galaxy. We are live with a recap of Monday Night Raw for September 25th, 2023. We have No Mercy, the NXT Premium Live event this coming Saturday. And then a week later, we have WWE's Fastlane Premium Live event, which up until tonight did not have anything really announced for the show. Let's get into it. We kicked off Monday Night Raw with Cody Rhodes in Ontario, California, about an hour away from Los Angeles, maybe a little bit more depending on traffic. Footage was shown of Cody Rhodes coming to the aid of Jey Uso on last week's Raw. He hyped up the sold-out crowd. He teased going after Roman Reigns, saying maybe they're not in the third inning anymore. Cody did say that Jey made the right decision by turning down Judgment Day. Of course, Judgment Day interrupted. Dominik got on the mic, tons of heat as usual. He said Cody is going to pay. He started yelling at the fans in Spanish. Cody brought up how Dominik actually has a real family and they cannot stand him. And what is going to happen when Rhea Ripley returns from her vacation in Australia and Judgment Day is empty-handed with no titles? Judgment Day, they were ready to beat up Cody. They surrounded the ring, but then Jey Uso ran down. Judgment Day was like, well, it's still 3-on-2. So they were ready to fight. But then Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens showed up to make it 4-on-3. That's when J.D. McDonough showed up with steel chairs. And Priest was against them getting into a fight, but it happened. Balor and McDonough got into the ring. Priest went in. And there was a big fight. It ended up with Damian Priest all by himself in the ring. Cody taking down Priest with a steel chair to the back. Good guys got the upper hand. Nice segment here to open up the show. Hot crowd to kick things off. And it was a good sign for the remainder of the show. We had our first match of the evening, which was Otis versus Big Bronson Reed. It was meaty men slapping meat, as they say. They gave each other shoulder tackles and nobody budged. The double clotheslines. It was like two trucks colliding in the ring. They knocked each other out of the ring at one point, and then Otis started to get the upper hand. But he charged at Big Bronson, missed, and went into the ring post. And then back in the ring, Reed actually picked up Otis with a Samoan drop. Otis kicked out. Otis started to make a comeback. He hit the Caterpillar, went for the Vader bomb, but Reed moved out of the way. And then Reed picked up the win with the Tsunami. Good match here with these two. I agree with Matthew. It did feel like it was a bit short, like it could have gone longer, but for what it was, very entertaining. Bronson Reed picks up some momentum. Solid stuff here. D. Martin Fifth sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. Says Otis and Bronson Reed was a perfect example of the irresistible force meeting the immovable object. Yes, as Gorilla Monsoon might say, the fans were hanging from the rafters to see the irresistible force versus the immovable object. And speaking of irresistible force, we'll be talking about Nia Jax in just a few moments. Thank you again, D. Martin Fifth, longtime viewer. I appreciate it. We had Tegan Knox meeting up with Becky Lynch backstage. Becky wanted somebody like Tegan to answer the open challenge last week. Tegan admitted that she let the veteran Natalya jump in front, and Becky said, "You cannot do that." Becky said that she wants Tegan to be next in line after she retains her NXT title against Tiffany Stratton this Saturday at the No Mercy Premium Live event. Tegan was acting very, very shy, very quiet. So they're starting to build her up here and give her an edge, and we'll get to that in just a moment here. We had Adam Pearce making it clear that it hasn't been finalized yet. It's been like 3 or 4 weeks, but whatever. They haven't finalized who's going to SmackDown in the Jey Uso trade. You know, they're taking a long time with it. It's like the strike in Hollywood. It just doesn't wrap up within a week. It's a long process, a long legal battle. They didn't actually say any of that, just that it hasn't been finalized. We had Tegan Knox approaching Adam Pearce, wanting a match with Becky, but then Natalya showed up, said she wants one more match with Becky Lynch, and Tegan said somebody new should have a chance. A match was set up for later to determine who will get a future opportunity for the title. Joe sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you for that, Joe. I appreciate it. It says, "Glad that my girl Tegan survived the weekend cuts." Not only that, but she's getting some TV time here. There you go. Tegan Knox doing all right. A sign that Triple H is still running a good portion of the company at this point, because Tegan Knox, he was always a favorite of hers, or she was, I totally butchered that. She was always a favorite of his. That's what I meant to say. Botch, to quote Noah Foster. It is late. It is 11:09 in the evening, and sometimes my brain doesn't work properly. We had Tommaso Ciampa versus Ludwig Kaiser with Vinci at ringside. Pretty solid match here with these two. Crowd was into it. They were chanting, "Let's go Ciampa," as Kaiser took control of the match. He sent Ciampa off the apron onto the steel steps, worked over Ciampa for a bit. Ciampa started to make a comeback. Gunther was watching backstage. Ciampa hit the Widow's Bell DDT. Kaiser kicked out, and then Kaiser avoided the fairy tale ending. They went back and forth, changing right hands, exchanging blows, and then Ciampa was perhaps on the verge of winning. He exposed his knee. He was going for the ripcord knee, but then Vinci got on the apron, and Ciampa took down Vinci. Kaiser took advantage of this and perhaps had the match won, but the referee was checking on Vinci. Basically, their plan backfired on them, and Ciampa did manage to hit the ripcord knee, got the 1-2-3 victory, one step closer to getting a match with Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship. Good angle here with them to further the Ciampa-Gunther storyline. We had a Dragon Lee video package to introduce him to the masses. And then we had Becky Lynch on commentary for Tegan Knox versus Natalya. Pretty basic match here. Tegan was very fired up. Natalya did get the upper hand for a while, but then Tegan recovered and picked up the win with the shiniest wizard. Not too much to say about it. It's good for Tegan, though. She's building up some momentum. And they did announce that she will face the winner of Becky Lynch versus Tiffany Stratton next week on Raw. A little bit of a push here for Tegan Knox. We'll see how long that goes. We had a backstage segment with Judgment Day, Priest was not happy with JD McDonough, and he said, JD McDonough is not going to be in the Judgment Day. So Priest still not wanting JD to be part of their group. We had Seth freaking Rollins come into the ring. He had the crowd hum his song, and he said that if Shinsuke Nakamura was not going to come out there and confirm their match, then he was pulling the opportunity from the table. It was not going to happen. But we did have a Nakamura video, and long story short, Nakamura accepted the match, and it's going to be a last man standing match. Last chance for Rollins to have the championship. Last time for Rollins to be healthy with his family, because Nakamura said he will be the last man standing. Rollins admitted that Nakamura played it perfectly, but made one critical mistake. And that was thinking the broken back was a weakness, while in fact, it's actually a strength. And Rollins vowed to retain his championship in the last man standing match that will take place at WWE Fastlane. Good promo here with these guys, and we got this match set up. I mean, they really needed to get it done. We got the pay-per-view coming up here in just under 2 weeks. We had Ricochet on crutches backstage selling the attack by Nakamura, and said he will return, and he does have unfinished business with Shinsuke Nakamura. We had Dominik Mysterio defending the Intercontinental Championship against Dragon Lee from NXT. I say this a lot. If you guys have followed my videos over the years, you know I say it. First impressions mean everything. For Dragon Lee, this was the biggest match of his career, and it was really important for him to have a strong showing, and he did. This was a hell of a match. I mean, this felt like a top-tier AEW Dynamite match. These guys were going hard. They were going fast. And the crowd was red hot for this. Like, they were into it. Oh, I think I botched the title match. It's the North American Championship, not the Intercontinental title. There's just so many titles between AEW and WWE. There's like a million titles. I feel like every other guy on TV has a title at this point. I mean, that's the thing too. Now you got the NXT titles being defended on Raw. So yeah, it's easy to get these titles confused. It was for the North American Championship. Hell of a match here with these guys. Dragon Lee got in a lot of offense, and Dominik ended up giving Lee a DDT on the floor. And after the break, Dominik went for the frog splash, but Lee got his knees up. Lee started going to town on Dominik, and Lee avoided the 619, and then Lee hit a Hurricane Rana to Dominik, sending him to the floor. He got Dominik back in the ring, hit a sit-down power bomb, but Dominik kicked out. The crowd was chanting, "This is awesome." And Lee then did the double stomp out of the corner, went for a running knee, but Dominik lifted him up, and Dragon Lee was crotched on the top rope. Dominik then picked up the victory with the frog splash. One of the best matches of Dominik's career. I mean, Dominik looked great in there as well. Hell of a match with these guys. Definitely worth checking out if you missed it. And Dragon Lee is probably going to be a made guy now. Like that was such a good performance that I think it's almost a guarantee he'll get a prominent spot on the main roster once they're ready to call him up. We had Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn in a backstage promo to hype up their main event tag team title opportunity. And good point by Matthew. Dragon Lee might be the next Rey Mysterio. You know, it's funny. They've been saying it for years. Who's going to be the next Rey Mysterio in WWE? They tried with Sin Cara. That did not work. They tried with Mr. Good Lucha Things, Kalisto. That did not work. And now they got Dragon Lee. And hey, maybe he's going to be their next Rey Mysterio. We'll have to wait and see. We had, I was almost going to say Adam Cole. Michael Cole, the father of Adam Cole. Not really, but they're both Cole. Michael Cole interviewed Nia Jax. And she has new music, which somebody said was a remix of her old theme. It does sound a bit different. New music for her, which I guess makes sense for her new run, and because they're trying to get rid of all the old songs and replace them with the new Def Rebel songs, which are not nearly as good as the old ones, in my opinion. Nia Jax said she's the baddest human in WWE. She squashed the most dominant champion in WWE, Rhea Ripley. Crowd was chanting, "You suck it, Nia." She talked about squashing the entire women's division, but then Zoey Stark interrupted. She got in Nia's face, and she admitted, yes, Nia did squash her, but it was with her back turned. Zoey dared Nia to do it face to face. So Nia shoved Zoey. Zoey got up. A fight broke out, and referees came down, and that led to a match: Nia Jax versus Zoey Stark. Nia charged at Zoey, but Zoey moved, and Nia went into the ring post. Zoey hit a bunch of kicks, springboard drop kick, but could not knock Nia Jax down. Zoey tried to pick up Nia Jax, but collapsed. And then Nia Jax hit a leg drop to the back of the neck, followed by the Banzai drop, the Annihilator, and picked up the 1-2-3 victory. So basically a showcase for Nia Jax. Zoey did look okay in it, but yeah, it was almost a glorified squash match, and Nia Jax continues her rampage. The promo was what it was. I mean, I don't think it was as bad as some people were making it out to be, but I mean, it definitely wasn't The Rock or a John Cena type of promo. I'll just leave it at that. I love Vince Russo. Vince Russo has a burner account. On this day in 2000, Vince Russo wins the WCW World Title. Yeah, that he did. He won the WCW title. He came out there in the Pope Mobile, and then that was the end of him. He pretty much disappeared after that. The WCW title was vacated, and I mean, whatever prestige the WCW title had was clearly gone by that point. But thank you for the super chat. We had Jey Uso interviewed backstage, just making it clear he's not looking to join any groups. And then we had Miz TV with Drew McIntyre. And Miz was questioning, is McIntyre a coward or a conflicted hero after not helping Jey Uso last week? Miz said it's an open, judgment-free zone. He said he's on McIntyre's side. He would have done the same thing to Jey that McIntyre did. McIntyre said he's not like the Miz, but Miz disagreed. Brought up how they're both hard workers. They've both been underappreciated. And he talked about McIntyre's struggles with the bloodline and how Jey screwed McIntyre. McIntyre said, well, what happened to Jey? Karma's a bitch. Miz then stirred the pot by asking how it felt to be upstaged by Cody Rhodes. At this point, New Day arrived, Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods. Kofi said he did not know McIntyre was cold-blooded and a coward, like how he acted last week. Xavier took it a step further and said that they used to call Drew McIntyre Big D, but there was a little bit of shrinkage last week, and maybe that sword got a little too limp to get the job done. McIntyre said Cody Rhodes was just trying to clean up Jey Uso's mess. Every time Miz tried to talk here, McIntyre told him to shut up, Miz. And eventually, after Miz would not show up, McIntyre gave him the Glasgow kiss. Great segment here. I'm loving this McIntyre heel direction. Like, he was just acting very stern, very mean looking during the entire segment. And yes, he did attack the Miz, but he's still in that transition. Really good stuff here. And then we had the match between McIntyre and Kofi, former WWE champions going at it. Another really good match here on the show. McIntyre had the early offense, but Kofi managed to send Drew to the outside, trust fall onto Drew from the top rope, and then back in the ring, Kofi came off the top again with a crossbody. Drew kicked out of it, and then after the commercial break, they were back and forth for a bit. Big D managed to avoid the tip, the trouble in paradise, but then Kofi was able to send McIntyre to the outside of the ring again, and then McIntyre caught Kofi, gave him an Alabama slam on the apron, threw him back in the ring. Kofi managed to avoid the Claymore. Then Kofi hit the SOS, but McIntyre kicked out. Crowd chanted, "This is awesome." Ivar then showed up, attacked Xavier on the outside of the ring. Kofi was concerned, but Drew McIntyre was not concerned. Drew McIntyre pulled Kofi away and then finished him off with the Claymore. Now, typically, I'm not a fan of the stupid babyface, but this was perfectly executed. You had Kofi legitimately concerned for his friend, and McIntyre could have let Kofi go out there and take care of Ivar. But McIntyre was like, F you, Kofi. So in this case, they did this really well. Like this was perfect execution of this with the Drew McIntyre one step closer to that heel turn. And then after the match, Ivar got in the ring. He wanted to beat down Kofi, and McIntyre let it happen. McIntyre just left the ring as Ivar destroyed Kofi Kingston. Great stuff here. Like they're really nailing it with the Drew McIntyre heel turn because it feels authentic. It doesn't feel forced. It feels like this is a guy who is not in a good place and he's pissed off. So yeah, I think that they're doing a tremendous job with this heel turn. The This Guy Experience sent in a $2 super chat, says, still got to do my Vice article homework. No Mercy, thumbs down. Why thumbs down for No Mercy? You're going to have Braun Breaker versus Baron Corbin and Dragunov versus the world champion, Carmelo Hayes. Like that's going to be a stacked show right there. I Love Vince Russo sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you, Vince Russo, by the way. I appreciate it. Says, if Russo was there, the Raw rating would have been a 10. Yeah, bro. Raw would have done 10.7865 viewers, and they would have beaten Monday Night Football, bro, if Vince Russo was writing Raw. I'm telling you, bro. We had Gunther backstage. He's pissed off with Imperium. He said that Vinci is now Kaiser's responsibility, and if something happens, there will be a problem. Gunther said he's going to beat Ciampa all by himself, and they did announce that next week there will be a contract signing with these guys, and, well, at least they haven't announced the match yet. As long as they don't announce the match, I guess I can let it slide, but I'm still not a fan of the contract signing segments. Like, just announce the match for Fastlane or whatever. Like, just do that. And backstage, Ivar and Valhalla were interviewed, and Valhalla said that it's an eye for an eye since New Day took out Eric. And yeah, New Day still has a Viking Raiders problem. We had our main event of the evening for the WWE Tag Team titles. Judgment Day, Finn Balor and Damian Priest defending against Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. Back and forth main event here. Another really strong TV match. They worked over Zayn for a while. Owens got a hot tag. Came off the top with a frog splash. Balor kicked out. Crowd chanted, "This is awesome," 3 times on this show, which doesn't happen on Raw that often. Owens went for the swanton, but Balor got his knees up. Balor hit the coup de grace. Zayn broke it up. Then Dominik got on the apron to interfere, prevent the haluva kick. Zayn, though, hit the Blue Thunder Bomb to Priest, and there actually wasn't a kick out. Instead, Balor broke up the pin attempt. So maybe, just maybe, the Blue Thunder Bomb was going to get the win. Who knows? Jey Uso then showed up to go after Dominik. JD McDonough then appeared and attacked Jey. Cody Rhodes ran down, went after McDonough, and they cleared the ringside area. KO hit the stunner to Balor, and then Zayn hit the haluva kick to Priest, but then McDonough returned and hit Zayn with the tag team championship. Priest then put one arm over Zayn and got the 1-2-3 victory. So Judgment Day are still your WWE Tag Team Champions. After the match was over, Jey Uso and Cody Rhodes ran back down. The fight continued, and you had officials trying to break them up. Great match here, but as Matthew pointed out, when does the Judgment Day versus Cody Rhodes, Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens feud finally come to an end? Is it going to be a War Games match? Are they building up now for a War Games match at Survivor Series? Seems like they still got some time. I mean, that means we're gonna have to see this feud for another 6 weeks or so. 7 weeks, maybe. Walter Cruz sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that. Says they might as well book a traditional Survivor Series match or War Games match with Judgment Day versus Cody, KO, Jey, Sami Zayn, and end it there. No more Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn versus Judgment Day. Enough. Yeah, I mean, that would make sense to do the War Games match, but that means the downside to that is we got another 6 weeks until Survivor Series. 7 weeks. I think it's 7 weeks, actually. Which means we got to have several more weeks of Cody versus Damian Priest or Kevin Owens versus JD McDonough. You know, they're going to keep doing these mix and match tag matches and singles matches. I mean, it really has run its course, but yeah, it feels like they got to finish these guys off in a War Games match. I mean, that seems to be the correct way to finish off this story here. And Building Nexus sent in a $2 super chat, says, is Rhea expendable now that Judgment Day all won without her? Well, I think the key here is JD McDonough. Like, Priest doesn't want him in the group, but McDonough was instrumental in Judgment Day retaining the tag titles. So overall, Raw was actually a damn strong show this week. I mean, one of the best Raws of the year. I'm gonna go as high as an A- for Raw. Like the wrestling was maybe the best all year. You had 3 really strong television matches and nothing bad on the show. You could say maybe the Nia Jax promo was bad, but I didn't really have a problem with it. I think she got the point she needed to across, that she's the baddest human on WWE television or whatever she's saying. And, I liked the angles on the show. I loved the Drew McIntyre heel turn direction. So, yeah, I thought for a 3-hour show, it was very entertaining, and it actually flew by quicker than usual. Like, I wasn't dreading the second hour of Raw or even the third hour of Raw. Like, I was invested from start to finish. And the crowd definitely helped too. I think I would have gone maybe a B+, but the crowd brought it up to an A-. So there you go. And I love Vince Russo with a $5 super chat, says, the great Vince Russo would book a War Games TLC on a forklift match, and it would get 5 out of 5 stars. We need Vince Russo back, bro. Again, I'm very grateful that Vince Russo was super chatting me now. Vince Russo brand must be doing very well over there on his channel. But yes, War Games, TLC, forklift match with ladders. You got to have some ladders in there too. And you can only win by first blood. There you go. That would definitely break the scale. That would be like 7 out of 5 stars. I mean, come on now. And real quick before I go, everybody, we have a new Facebook group because the old one was just being destroyed by spammers. So go to facebook.com/groups/NoDQ WWE AEW. And if you cannot remember that link, just go to my personal Facebook account and you'll see the link there. I posted it in one of the status updates, and I also tweeted it. And it's on the No DQ Facebook page. So you'll find it if you look for it. It's the new Facebook group, facebook.com/groups/NoDQ WWE AEW. Come join us there and give your thoughts on Raw and anything else that's on your mind. Help us build the community. Much love and appreciation to everybody out there. And that's all I got for this week. Thank you all for tuning in for the Raw recap. I appreciate it. Stay tuned to NoDQ.com for the very latest. And remember, say yes to NoDQ.com, and I will see you all next time.